Hello and welcome to the Experiment Lab, the daily show with JK. I'm JK, your host, and I'm joined by Amar. Hi, Amar. How are you
Yeah,
doing?
hi JK. Good morning. I'm good. I think you are not good. You are feeling some seasonal flu like that. Is that?
Yes, you got it right. I can't talk much today, but anyway, the daily show is with me, so I thought, like, okay, let me run through some, and also if Walter joins, you and Walter can go ahead and talk. And also, I
Sure.
thought of sharing some live project and some updates because we, as already discussed yesterday, that this week is going to be shut down and no
Mhm.
much activity from the recruiter side.
Right. And today is the first working day of this week because they spend 3 days leave on weekend.
Yeah, so that is also a factor, right? So we just need to count that into account after returning back from a long weekend, right? People might have taken for 3 days, 4 days, or even more than that, and then they come back. So it will take time for them, like, to settle down
Mhm.
and start the conversations.
And one thing I need to share that yesterday I applied about more than 100 positions on your profile, but I did not get any response yet from any of recruiter. I think yeah, they will maybe.
So that's the thing, right? So maybe something you are doing wrong, or it might take time, right? So people won't respond immediately for everything. If you apply, it's not just you are applying, you can look at it and you can see, like, hundreds of people are applying for it. At least 10 or 20 people or 50 people might be applying for the same position. So they take time to a week or 2 weeks to look at the resumes and find out, like, who will be the right fit, and then they will start that. So that
Right.
is something like what will happen usually.
Oh, yeah, one thing I just visited the LinkedIn profile and I saw that most time of recruiter they already have downloaded my resume and they have business on it. Maybe they will contact with me after viewing my resume.
Okay, Walter has joined as well. Hi, Walter. Good morning.
Good morning. How goes everything?
Well, I thought, like, you are going to host the show today because I'm completely off. My throat hurts, and I think I got a flu,
Oh, yeah,
probably.
I've been there. That wasn't fun.
Yes, definitely. It's not fun. So today, instead of talking much, I thought, like, to share some of the live projects and also run through any meetings that is happening in those things. But it looks like after a long weekend, people have taken quite a break, like, to recover from the holiday season. So they haven't started any meeting from the beginning of the day, it seems. So I'm just, like, hoping that, like, something will turn up for us, like, to play it out.
Yeah, I'm not really expecting anything until the first again. Well, actually, the second for people to start back.
Yeah, that is there, right? So they may not be able to but let's give it a try and see like what best we have, and also if there is any call, any emails, we'll share that and we'll talk about that.
Yeah, sure. Today I received only 3 emails from the recruiter side, and already I have replied, but did not get any response yet. Let's see what happened today. Maybe they are returning and reply soon. Walter, did you get any response from the recruit side?
Nope.
Oh,
It doesn't seem like they're going to be doing anything until here as well.
yeah, I can share my screen and let's see the mails I received today. See here only 3 emails, one from Krishna for position of project manager. They ask for 10 plus years over project management experience. This is a well-known recruitment company, diverse. And I applied for this position. Also this one from Jessica England, a specialist. This position is for remote. And another one that I have replied. This one is project administrator. As I told yesterday, that lots of new companies coming to this. So many new companies coming and they are doing their business starting. Nothing to share for now.
Yeah, there's yeah, it really feels like they are taking an extended break for the New Year's to before they ramp up again.
Right.
It's good to have a little break from the same type of emails over and over again. I do wonder what they are, or if they're actually even working right now, or what the deal is. Because I guess yes, typically they could be following their client schedules, which most of them aren't going to be doing anything until after the new year.
Yeah, that is something we already discussed about, right? So it is, we exactly don't know unless the recruiter tells us the story of uh, what is their position, right? Are they working? If they are getting paid, all those things matter. Because if they are going to get paid, I don't think like they have this luxury of not working, because the process usually takes 3 to 4 weeks for uh, setting up an interview and getting the candidate onboarded or selected minimum. So if they are going to start from the next month, again it's going to delay for them. Only by February or March they will get candidates placed. So that being said, some of them do reach out. So one or two are there. Yeah, I can see that. in in the profiles that we have set it up, but that's not enough, right? So the volume of people who have been engaged in this, maybe they might be forcefully given some vacation time. So that's my 2 cents. I would say, like, I don't know, but that is how, like, I see these companies operate, because they are completely profit oriented, and they are not going to pay anyone without them being in the office or working and producing some results. So that is for sure. And maybe we can check with any of the recruiters if they happen to call us, or if they say like otherwise, probably then we might correct it.
Yeah, that would make sense because I mean, I don't think very many clients are going to be setting up interviews a couple of days after Christmas or the day before New Year or on New Year. So that would make sense if they were like told to take a break for 10, 14 days or so. Which yeah, it slows everything down and they don't get paid that way, but that would make a lot of sense, especially since I've gotten about nothing over the past 2 days. I mean, yesterday, the day after Christmas, 2 days after Christmas. So, I mean, I didn't really expect to see a lot this week on their end, anyway.
Yeah, that's the funny thing, right? Again, in terms of even the live project, I got the access from, uh, and they are even on vacation mode, even on the live projects. There is no meeting. Most of the managers are on PTO for almost a week or 10 days. So they just don't do any production work, right? So which means like that will impact their business. They don't want like to do any releases. Big banks, all those people like decide on these things collectively, right? So they just shut down complete activity, but keep it to the minimum. And you can see that like there is no meeting happening, and nobody has started the meeting. It's just like the teammate like who is working for us on this project, he just shared this like, okay, I am going to take a break. I don't have any meetings today. All I have to do is like lame duck, sit quiet and uh, keep my chat window active. If anybody messages, asks anything, I have to respond. Otherwise, I just have to log in 8 hours and say like I was present for the day. So that's basically what they are trying to do. Even in terms of the meetings, and I can see that like meetings are scheduled and it's been uh, active, but then people just don't start it. The organizer or whoever has to uh, be there, like they have taken leave, or they are on PTO or vacation, whatever that is. So that's how like I see it. So
Just some people are in the holiday spirit and just want to keep it extended. Mhm. There might be, yeah. I mean, that's the best way I can put it is like, which is interesting at companies this size. It seems like the bigger the company and the more people make, the longer they take for holiday vacations because everything seems to shut down on that end. But as of yesterday, people were back at working at restaurants and all those things. So it is interesting how that works out. And
certain service industry people are backed up and they do work. And even that's one of the thing like I wanted to uh, talk about. uh, Most of these contracting jobs by big corporations is taken care of for the reason as a buffer, kind of, what do we say, like in sports, like a substitute or some player like who sits in the dugout, something like that. They just have additional resources to support those full timers who get a lot of uh, like the number of years they work in the um, corporate, their vacation time goes up. They can even take up to 30 days or 45 days in a year. So during that period, someone has to back them up and work has to continue. For that reason, they just hire more resources and keep them. And that's where the impact happens when the layoffs happen. The news is being portrayed as like, oh, so many people, like thousands of people have been laid off. And but just like blame the billionaires, right? So actual work, that is one thing like we wanted to experiment on this. Like actual work is not being given to people who are even hired. So the other project like that we have been onboarded like almost now it's going to be 4 months, and they just asked us to do some trainings which was not more than 2 weeks, and for almost 3 months we are sitting and do nothing, but luckily we are getting paid. What do you have to say to that, Walter?
Sounds like a good gig. um, yeah.
Yeah, worth than Uber or Lyft drivers, right? So not even driving around or sitting around.
Yeah,
It's
I mean, it is weird how seemingly the more you get paid, the less people ask you to do in certain scenarios, and it's just like, huh, that's well, that's not the way it works in some countries, but here it seems to be that is the way. And when if everything goes wrong in a company, you'll start firing people underneath you here. Um, and for in Japan, for example, all the executives will take pay cuts so they don't have to fire everyone. So it's kind of weird how all that's set up here. It's pretty. I don't know. I think all it's all pretty interesting to me at this point. With how so a company doesn't care that they're paying someone $75, $80 an hour, and that they'll just pay them that, and if they don't have anything for them, they'll just keep paying them until it's time for them to do stuff, and then just repeat the cycle all over again while this person makes like 130 grand a year sitting around.
And even they are not providing work to the running candidate, running employee, still they are trying to hiring a candidate from marketplace. They are still uh, recruiting people in the from right.
um mostly I still, as I said, right? So they just use it as a buffer, having more resources, and that's where like the struggle is, like who makes the cut and who makes profit out of it or make commission from those hiring processes. And that's where like everything is kind of random, and some organizations are waking up and they do it uh, in a way that like it has to be very lean and only the required people needs to be there to do the job. Uh, but that efficiency goes off once they involve multiple vendors or supply chains. People are competing and they are giving different scenarios. So that is how like I see this. Anyway, what other topics like can we choose to address on this experiment? Walter, any thoughts on that? Because the new year is coming up and we might have to plan and do things better.
I think the one thing that I'll be looking at is how this process works once hired for a U.S. citizen, and how everything goes if and I'm going to try to compare how that works for a compared to a H-1B visa holder if they're treating people differently. And I think a big thing is I think a big thing to figure out is to speak to more people in the legal profession and see the exact legality, because I don't think there's much illegal with asking questions that they're doing, but it seems that in certain cases they might be really on the borderline, and I guess also seeing I guess also seeing just how many different projects we can get up. I know it's going to be a person issue. You have like 10 projects that 10 people have to work those basically full time, or at least be at a laptop long enough to push a button every 15 minutes. But I mean, I think it would be interesting just to see how all these different do any corporations do it differently in this process, because it seems like it all becomes a big um kind of a mess that's not very well taken care of because of just how many people are involved and how much monies these companies already have, that it just doesn't matter if someone, they don't have everyone doing something at every second because they have plenty of money, and it's not a big deal. It's not even a big deal to some of these companies if they get sued for hundreds of millions of dollars, because it's like, yeah, we have that, just take it and go. So it's so all that kind of stuff is going to be interesting to look at and examine, just to see if there's any differences between, like, like a bank or what IT company, or how those operate this way. I mean, I'm not expecting there to be a great drastic difference, because it seems to be a very uniform system for all these companies, which is odd and interesting at the same time.
Yes, certainly. Um, in terms of the citizens, they have the option to convert them to full time, right? So any other candidate who is not under the visa category or sponsorship, that is always a possibility. So they will just pick and choose if the candidate is good, and they just want like to retain that candidate after 3 months or 6 months. And how you perform on the job makes you to go up the ladder, or just kind of convert yourself into a full-time employee. So that is always there in this contract business. But whereas in terms of the visa holder, it's not going to happen, right? Because it's a whole lengthy process, transferring and sponsoring, and also big companies always have their own HR and immigration department. So they just have to go through a whole lot of process. And that is one thing like we wanted to share, even with the city project, that we are through one of the vendors, which is a very big company, and they operate from India. So it's an Indian based company, and they have I don't know, maybe 10,000 or 15,000 employees. But even in US itself, like they might have like more than 5,000, 6,000 employees, and they do provide active sponsorship. And you can see like there is a open communication channel internally for the company, uh, people like who are on visa, to communicate like what are their problems and how do they get the stamping, how do they process this, if they are transferring it like from a different company. All those things are there. From that, like we can clearly understand like how people are kind of uh, caught up in that loop, because without their active project, they will not be able to bill it, or they will not be able to make money. All those activities are being shown in that. So I was trying to understand that, and also, as you mentioned, Walter, like we can question it with the legal experts, and also share those things at the right point. That will make more sense, rather than just blindly showing it to our audience and say like, oh, this is what is happening in those companies. But that doesn't prove anything wrong, because that is the way the system has been set up. So nobody can blame anything, right? They will obviously, nobody is going to come after us. Even if they do, they'll ask like, what is your problem? We are doing everything as per our legal requirement. If we don't follow it, there is a compliance issue and government will come after us. They will fine us. So why do you make a mess out of it, right? So that is something like I'm trying to understand.
Yeah, I mean, if someone complains, I mean, the fines for $1 billion company that are going to come from like the labor department or aren't going to be something that's going to make them change anything. So they'll just happily pay that and probably continue on with the same exact thing. There really isn't much of a deterrent there. The worst thing that can happen to them is a PR, as a gigantic PR hit. But a lot of these companies don't even seem to be business to consumer. So even in that case, what does it um, matter to them really? So I mean, I don't know. It just seems like there's going to have to do it. It'd have to be just a big legal change for a lot of things to change from some of these companies in. Uh, yeah, that's something as far as the H-1B visa holders and how they're treated. That's something that's going to have to happen. But is that something that's going to happen soon? It would be. We have to hope for that, but it's going to be a lot of work.
Yeah, and yes, definitely on that note, we can wrap up things, Amar, unless you want something else to share, because most of the profiles are quite inactive today. So we will
Yeah, right.
highlight this one. This is still active. Somebody is communicating it on this. And I was hoping to get a call and have some fun with this guy. But we can try to do that. It is for JP Morgan Chase. And they have given a job code and details of the project. So we can take that up after the show
Yeah, sure.
if you guys are ready for that.
And 31st December is coming. Is 31st December is a public holiday in the country or what is? Walter?
Yeah, what was it?
Is 31st December a public holiday?
Is the 31st a
Mm-hmm.
I
public
don't
holiday?
think,
I don't. It's not a public. The first is the public holiday. 31st isn't, but I don't. A lot of people don't work on the 31st. So I wouldn't expect too much on the 31st. The 31st and the first are probably going to be the back to being slow. There might be some pickup Wednesday and Thursday. And then when the 30th and 31st come, it's probably going to slow back down again until the second, and everybody will be back to work. Some higher paying positions don't come back until after the first week of January. So, but yeah, after the first week of January, everything should be back to normal.
I think most of them, they make it as a holiday because in banking sector, 31st December is most important for them, I think.
yeah, that is one of the challenges, right? So even with the Bank of America, like I lost track of it, like our teammate, like what he was doing on those things. The only latest update he gave us was we still didn't get paid for that. So that we completely ignored and we moved on and decided to take the risk and see like how long are they going to take it. Let's see, wait and see, right? The game has started and it's been 4 months and they even communicated saying that like they have they are going to release the check, and the last update they gave us was like it was already released and it's been shipped to you guys, but then still we haven't received anything. So that is like we are going back and forth, communicating it, calling, emailing them, saying that like, can you share the tracking number when it was sent? All those things is happening on the background, but still I just wanted to highlight on that. So this is something, a long struggle for people who are trying to experiment in this way. because even with the legal course, we have no clue what we are going to do on that. But let's hope everything turns out well in the coming weeks. With that being said, I will probably sign off for today. Thank you, Amar. Thank you, Walter. Bye for now.
Okay.
Hope you feel better.
Thank you. Yeah.